This woman is confronting a wild wolf. First gestured with a knife, then shouted hoarsely. But the wild wolf neither flees nor attacks. Because its goal. Actually, the man who was seriously injured behind the woman only heard a howl. Two hungry wolves sprang out from behind the woman, pounced on the man, biting wildly. When the woman reacts, the man has been unconscious. The woman and the man are a newly married couple. Not long ago, they decided to spend their honeymoon in the canyon. Unexpectedly, the tour guide was bitten by a poisonous snake on the way. He died shortly after. There are no people in the surrounding area for dozens of miles. They want to call the police, but the phone has no signal. And after leaving the tour guide, the two of them couldn't find their way back. The two finally realized the seriousness of the matter. From now on, they are trapped in the canyon. The two, hungry and thirsty, can only use the matches on the tour guide to make a fire. Only then, barely past the first night. But just woke up. Husband found wolf footprints before raising the fire. He has a hunch that something is going wrong. He immediately took his wife and intended to go back to the way it was. But where does my husband know how to go? You can only tell the direction by the sun and intuition. Needless to say, I walked for a day. The two went back to where they were. Without any choice. The two can only climb to high places to observe the terrain. Determine the route first, then hurry up. Can climb up to 5 or 6 meters high. Wife's cell phone suddenly rang. The phone has a signal. The wife immediately asked her husband to pull herself. I took out my phone and started calling the police. But the phone just connected. The signal is suddenly interrupted. Woman tried again. This is still the case. Under anxiety, she simply leaned her body out in the air. Want to enhance the signal in this way. But the call was just dialed. The rock supporting the two is overwhelmed. After a loud noise, the two of them crashed to the ground. The wife escaped by falling on the sand. But my husband is unlucky. Not only is the foot stuck tightly by the stone, the bone in the leg was broken in two. Now my wife is panicking, she wants to help him get out. But no matter how you break, the stones are immovable as if they are on the ground. Anxiously, she even wanted to drag her husband out. But not only failed, husband still fainted in pain. When the husband wakes up again, my wife is gone. Not far away, a wild wolf is staring at him viciously. The great fear made Wenfu's small universe explode. Picked up a rock and slammed it. The wolf was scared away. But is it safe now? If you continue to be stuck here, even if you don't die of thirst and starve to death, will be eaten by wolves sooner or later. At this moment, the wife also rushed back. So she went to find a branch. I want to pry the rock away with branches. The results are still in vain. Now there is only one choice left in front of my husband. Save yourself with severed limbs like a lizard. The problem is that there is no tool. Can it be hit with a rock? Suddenly my wife thought. There is a knife on the tour guide. If he can find his body, there is hope. Then, the wife left a bonfire and a handful of self-defense spikes for her husband. Then set off alone. The sky is gradually dimming. If you wait till it gets dark, the wolves are bound to attack. In order not to get lost, my wife had to run. Mark with a stone on one side. After a 2-hour trek, she finally found the body of the tour guide. No time to delay. She took away the tour guide's belt and knife. Just rush back for a while. Back to camp. She used the belt as a tourniquet. Put the knife on the fire again for disinfection. Immediately afterwards, this surgical operation began. The severe pain made Wenfu sober up instantly. The sticks in my mouth were almost bitten off. But this is not over yet. To cut off the bones, the wife has to make up for it. I saw her pick up a piece of gravel, make repeated gestures against the hilt, followed by a sudden blow. The husband rolled his eyes instantly. It hurts more than giving birth. Fortunately, in the end, the husband is still panting. This rough operation is done. And the exhausted wife hugged him and fell asleep deeply. Unexpectedly at night, the wife was awakened by the howls of wolves one after another. Get up and take a look. I saw dozens of hungry wolves drooling around. Circle around the two. If it's not for the fire nearby, They might have been torn to pieces long ago. But what is terrible? The life-saving bonfire let the wind blow. There are obvious signs of going out. And the firewood is gone. My wife doesn't want to sit still. She boldly walked into the woods. Pick up wood. Suddenly there was a strange noise in front of you. A head up. Hungry wolf swoops. The wife fell to the ground immediately. Fortunately, she reacted quickly. Stabbed the wolf's soft belly with a knife. This drove the beast away. Frightened, she picked up the wood and ran wildly. Just arrived at the camp. Immediately add wood to the fire. Watching the weak flame gradually come back to life. Her hanging heart finally let go. But it didn't last long. The howl sounded again. Listen to the sound, there are more wolves this time. I'm afraid the small bonfire can't stop it at all. The wife hurriedly took out the torch. One by one around the camp. I hope this will scare away the wolves. But she obviously underestimated how cunning the wolf is. One of them came first. Then there are 2 and 3, taking turns to test. There is no threat to see a woman. This group of beasts immediately showed their ferocious minions. A torch that knocked out his wife. A knife that missed her. Then the headed wolf came out to harvest. Biting his wife's leg frantically. At the juncture. Wife touched a knife. A heavy stabbing with a backhand, the wolf falls down. The wolves finally disappeared. After this attack. The wife didn't dare to close her eyes all night. She is too afraid that her husband will die here. So early the next morning. She dragged her husband to move. At this time, the two have been in the wild for 4 days. Sunny. But there is no drop of water around. Husband is desperate. He feels like a burden. I want my wife to leave and go alone. But my wife didn't want to give up anything. In order to keep my husband awake. She left the stretcher. Let her husband drive with a cane. Don't know. A wolf smelled the scent on the stretcher. Kill him again in front of his wife. The weird thing is. This time, the wolf did not rush to attack. But stupidly spinning in front of her eyes. Just when the wife is distracted. 2 hungry wolves sprang out from behind. Crazy bite from Wenfu. Only then did my wife realize that she was in the middle. Immediately frightened the wolf away with a knife. But in the blink of an eye, the wolves gathered again. They are not offensive. But waited quietly. As if the death of the 2 has settled. See this scene. The wife fell into deep despair. She recalled the good time of her newly married husband. Do you really want your lover to be killed by a pack of wolves? After a heavy breath. Woman made a bold decision. I saw her apologize. Cover Wenfu's nose and mouth with his hand. After struggling for a while. The husband is no more. But then. God made a cruel joke. I saw a helicopter roaring. Scared away the wolves. And landed precisely next to his wife. Original. When the wife dialed the emergency call. The police started tracking the location of the 2. The couple could have been rescued together. But now yin and yang are separated. Wife is saved. But this poor woman. May live forever in guilt and self-blame. After watching this movie. I just want to say that you must choose the right place for your honeymoon. Don't try to risk. Hey, it's not right. The premise is that you have to have someone.